stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. Thanks a lot for joining us as always. We're going to be starting our conversation today talking about poverty, something that a lot of Nigerians I know are not very excited about, but has almost sort of become our reality. We did see a report from the World Bank recently talking about the fact that Nigeria will lose 10 years of economic gains this year. And that's basically we're moving 10 years back from where we were at the start, of course, of the pandemic and all of that. So it gets a lot of people very worried. We're also hearing that, you know, by the end of 2022, I believe 45% of Nigerians will be living in poverty, and that's almost half the population. If you're a Nigerian and you live in this country, you can see it all around you. And I think it's a serious cause for concern. I'm here with a financial expert, Dr. Oluseyi Olanrewaju. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, this is the economy was a huge talking point, and one of the key points of this administration when they came into power in 2015. People got excited because there was this talk about Mr. President will handle security, the Vice President will handle the economy, which meant the economy was priority for them. 6 years down the line, we're still having these conversations, and it even looks like we're regressing. Why are we here?
What a question, Ebuka. I think if you look at the various microeconomic indicators, everything is pointing and is looking red, generally speaking, And for me, I think what has happened majorly is that we have good policies in place. We have good, don't let me say intention, but I think the will and the area of action in some of this policy, execution, is what I think we lack.
Yeah.
And that's why we are here today.
You talk about good policy, and a lot of people might even argue about that. First of all, I mean, one of the biggest things I know this government has started is this whole talk about trader money and, the social schemes that they've put out, to help, put money in the pockets of Nigerians and help them start life. But people have said that that does not go anywhere because of first of all, the amount of money that's been given and what it sort of does in the bigger picture of fighting poverty, where sort of small businesses or middle income businesses are where the focus should be, and just opening up the economy as a whole. Then you also have all of these policies that seem to, conflict with that. We're hearing about things being banned, borders being closed, and all of this, and it makes you wonder what really is the right things you think this government are doing that makes, what are the right things you think they're doing when you see this picture, when Nigerians see this picture? What is right about a lot of these things?
Thanks for that question. So we give it to governments because in terms of trader money, in fact, there's one they call artisan money, MSME funding, and the rest of things. But for me, I think those ones have just come as an urgent initiative to reduce the people's suffering due to COVID-19. So I think the government should go back to the drawing board and bring up a holistic policy, plan. Let there be structure to some of these things and invariably provide, a conducive environment for these guys to be able to operate as a business, provide infrastructure such as power, good road networks, and all of this in health, education, so it's not short-termism. We should be looking long-term. And to achieve this long-term, some of these things has to be in place. But we must commend them. At least people, were given some form of succor during COVID-19, which is still biting some of these businesses. But we need to go to the foundation.
Yeah.
Make it a sustainable program, provide infrastructure and build a structure around it.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest myths a lot of us have believed for the longest time is that Nigeria is a very rich country. I think we all grew up hearing this, and it probably started from my head of state who said, we have so much oil and we don't even know what to do with it or something along those lines, Has that been a big problem for us, where there's a belief that we have money, so we don't need to do too much?
I would say that the population is supposed to be a blessing to us, and the enormous resources that we have at our disposal are also supposed to be a blessing in quote to us. But the question is, what has happened? We've shifted focus from all these natural resources to just one of them, which is oil. So it's high time that Nigeria reduce its huge dependence on oil, diversify the economy, and look into other areas. Before we discover oil, we are existing as a country. We are, very depth into farming and all sorts of things. What has happened? Where have we missed it? So government should reduce this dependence on oil and diversify this economy. Look into other areas that we are blessed, that have over the years been overlooked and undermined because of this oil boom.
We're joined now from our Abuja studios by NLB, who's the country director of Action Aid Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us. We're talking here about, sort of diversifying the economy, and, our guest here talked about the fact that Nigeria was surviving before oil came. But these days, we've seen a lot of talk about tech being the new oil. And on top of that, we do seem to get a lot of very conflicting sort of policies from government. Cryptocurrency, we're not sure what's happening with that. Twitter has been suspended temporarily. There seems to be a stifling of this sector that seems to be the new shining star. So when you see things like this, it makes you wonder, what really is government's purpose here? 45% of Nigerians apparently will be living in abject poverty by the end of 2022. Are we on the right path?
Thank you very much for that, for the question. And when you look at who is saying that, who is telling us that we are going to go down like 10 years down the line, it is the World Bank that is telling us. The World Bank, a couple of months ago, that's during this COVID-19 time, before COVID-19, remember that the government of Nigeria introduced the National Social Investment program. And I'm happy that ActionAid was part of those who monitored, who recruited civil society from all over the Federation to look at, on the invitation of the federal government, to look at exactly how this is going down. And we monitored. At one point, with the government of Nigeria saying, President Muhammadu Buhari saying he wants to lift 10 million Nigerians out of poverty. Its National Social Investment Program is a short term. It should be a shock to jumpstart a lot of things to happen. But what has happened, in the long term, in the short term, was along the line, after 2 years or 3 years of the implementation, then COVID-19 came. COVID-19 came as a spoiler. A lot of people were locked down. We need to reflect on some of the causes of poverty or where we are in Nigeria. And when we take ourselves down the lane, you're looking at issues of agriculture. The agricultural constraints, it's very major, that can take people down into poverty or out of poverty. You also look at our foreign exchange issues, the foreign reserve. You are looking at the issue of budgetary allocation to different sectors, like our other guests have pointed out, and the volume that is, on ground there. You are looking at the physical infrastructure. What are the things that can easily lead people into poverty or out of poverty? When you look at the infrastructure in Nigeria, you are looking at a generator economy. You're looking at, you can be, if you travel and you are in some hotels around Nigeria, you can be in the hotel for 24 hours and there is no electricity. So what is the environment? So, because this is a program about Rubbin Minds, let's talk to ourselves. What are we really doing in the environment if you want to pull people out of poverty? Is it in an environment where state governors are not even paying salaries? In many cases, of course, I congratulate those who are paying. What should you do that can lift people? Or what should come in terms of the issues of inflation? And the government, I know they are putting a lot, but we need to go back to the drawing board. For us to, the tech issue and the blessings of the population, the natural resources and also blessings. Yes, I want to go with that. If it's a theory, then I want to go with that. That Nigeria is blessed with natural resources, human resources, material resources, name it. But are we using it? When you have about 62% of your population as young people, you know that that is an engine room for development. And for diversification of the economy, people are seeking for ways of putting their energy out here. We are graduating millions of young people every year, and we are pouring them out. So I do believe that Nigeria is blessed, and I do believe that the volume of resources that we have now is an advantage. The economy, the technology advancement that we have now is also a major advantage. I was fortunate to have attended the National Council on Agriculture, and I saw what happened there. The kind of technical, technological advancement with young people in Nigeria from different parts of the country and from the energy within Nigeria itself, is marvelous. And I think we are on a good path in terms of, where we are going. But from the World Bank, I want to tell you one discussion that we had with the World Bank. There was a press release which ActionAid had issued and said anybody who increases the fuel prices and also the electricity tariff, this was last year that it was coming, the discussion was coming, and we were being told this was the best time to introduce, to increase fuel prices. And I'm like, am I sane or insane? That with what we have now, majority of Nigerians are in the informal sector. And there is a lockdown. And this is the time you think you will increase fuel prices, a time you think you can bring in, the issue of electricity tariff. I told them that it was not the time, and we're going to demonstrate. When this came, lots of issues, the end of it, you had when it was increased and all of that, NSAS came, Nigerians protested, but the government went on ahead. And so we have a lot of things that we need to listen to the young people. We need to listen to Nigerians. How can we fix it? The challenges are there. The poverty that we're talking about, they went on ahead and they increased the prices. Here we are now with, double-digit inflation that is soaring higher and higher. And the same World Bank is coming to tell us. They discussed, I said, no, this is not the right time. Don't do it. It shouldn't be done because many people have plunged people into poverty. And you say this is the right time.
Sorry to cut you in there. I know. I like the fact there that you mentioned inflation there, and I mean away from the World Bank now, because it's fair enough to say that tech is booming, entertainment is booming, young people are doing amazing things. The Nigerian population is a huge resource to a lot of people, but a lot of people cannot relate to this greatness that you talk about, which is the fact. Basic things as simple as an egg have become a luxury for people. One egg. People can't afford to eat an egg anymore. And those are the realities of Nigerians. Mm-hmm. And you talk about inflation there. And I'm wondering, do you see government seeing this? How do we come out of this? Because, yes, there's still a pandemic going on. But a lot of other countries are recovering. What are we not doing here?
Again, it depends on, it's not just in having the policies. The Maputo Declaration states that any government at all, if you want to really invest in agriculture, you should have 10% of your budget, the budgetary allocation. Across the country right now, the current budget is like 2.3% of our budget in terms of investment. Over the years, it graduated from 1.7 and then, 1.3 down the line. But Nigeria is signatory to the Maputo Declaration. And so what is the percentage of our investment in agriculture? The mono economy is not helping us. What that is saying is that we have a lot of investment, ways of lifting people out of poverty. One big one for Nigeria is that the land is green. You have a lot of natural resources. You have the land mass to be able to produce food for Africa. And the food that is coming out of Nigeria, I can tell you that is going to different parts of the world, because when you travel to, different places where you have Nigerians, they bring in Nigerian food to different parts, and Africans love the food coming out of Nigeria. The diversity of Nigeria, I think that is one of the richness in terms of food that we have. But coming out of it, we need to, what has the government done? When you look at your budget, a budget is shows a nation's priority. What is a government investment in agriculture? And like I said, coming out of the council meeting, having the privilege to be there, shows that you can do a lot of things. We are still going away with the traditional, mode of farming in a lot of places. We can inject a lot of money into that environment. I think the government has done, we work with small-scale holder women farmers in all over the country. ActionAid actually hosts the secretariat. And we see a lot of changes coming in, with little interventions from the federal government and also from SMIDAN and some other government agencies. We can do more than that. Right now, the population of Nigerians that are on ground, if you are saying that you don't have a place to invest, or to create more jobs, I can tell you that agriculture can provide a lot of jobs for Nigerians. And when the food, if you have enough food that you can, even providing food for Nigerians in the first place, and then because we have the conflict, we have issues of conflict that is contending with us. We are having issues of, lack of investment, the reserve, and then the debt burden, we just showed in your headline, the debt burden for Nigeria. And so a lot of squeezing with some international interests as well. But what can we do? When we are talking of the tech issue, you said Nigerians find a way to also air their views. We are rubbing minds here. Everybody is a stakeholder in Nigeria. The government alone or the federal government is only part of Nigeria. And so we need to open up our think tanks, and talks and mean it by committing budgetary allocations in the area of agriculture.
And I'll come back to you.
Freedom of expression is part of it.
I'll come back to you, man.
Yeah.
Let me just get a word from Dr. Olariwaju here, who's with me. Because agriculture has come up a lot. You also mentioned that. But a lot of people have said, this is not possible because of exactly what she said. We're still doing very peasant farming here. Almost mechanized farming is very minimal, and there's no way you're going to grow the economy without heavily investing. The budget she talked about, we don't see that translates from government. So is that conversation even feasible?
So it's very much visible. Like I mentioned to you, it's high time our government diversify this economy. And one sector that's a hanging fruit is agriculture, like I mentioned earlier. Why can't government, have a very strategic plan into this sector? We're talking climate change. Rain doesn't fall throughout the year. Why can't they plan for irrigation? Why can't they vote money to support these farmers to run mechanized farming so that we can have food surplus all through the year and it can now have residue or surplus to even export as a country? So for me, it's doable. It's just that it's not given the right priority that it deserves.
One priority that the government seems to be giving is infrastructure. We see a lot of, trains and train stations and, roads being done across the country. And they believe that before you fix anything, infrastructure must work. Is that the right path, you think?
So it's an enabler for what we're talking about, because when these goods are also ready at the various rural area, you need a very good means of transportation to bring them to the urban area. But we're saying you are doing all this, a little focus needs to be given to that primary sector, which is agriculture. Subsistence cannot help. You can only feed yourself and your family. But what will help the nation as a whole is when we go into serious industrialization and mechanization.
And these are very long-term goals. But do you see the foundation even being laid for that?
So that's why I spoke earlier about that foundation, that we need to start putting something together now for us to be able to achieve that as a country.
On the final note now, both of you have talked about population and how that is an asset. Could that also be a problem?
So population will be a problem when your population is growing at a higher rate compared to the development rate, which is what we're having in Nigeria. And it's supposed to actually be a blessing. Look at the population. How many of our population citizens have the right education? How many of them have jobs? So you also see that the few ones that even have solid education, because of the uncertainty, you see them check out of the country looking for greener pasture. So a lot has to be done in that area to retain our people and take advantage of this massive population.
Are you hopeful?
I'm very hopeful, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oluseyi Olariwaju, and of course, NLB who joined us from Abuja. Fortunately, we're out of time. This poverty conversation is one of those things I think I've talked about a lot on this show, but we almost seem to be making no headway out of it. But hopefully we can talk about better things when next year. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ebuka.
We'll take a break now and be right back. Please don't go away. All right, welcome back. We're going to switch up to entertainment now. And World Music Day was celebrated in the past week, and I'm joined now by renowned music star from a legendary sort of lineage. Seun Kuti is here with me. You're welcome.
How are you doing, my brother?
Very well, man. I always like to ask, what happened to Anikulapo?
Anikulapo is there. He's people that just like to say Seun Kuti all the time. Like I try as much to produce all my records. Seun Anikulapo Kuti, but stage name. My brother, even my dad was Fela Kuti.
Yeah.
Like when you do your thing, it's just easier.
Yeah. Very well done.
But it's, oh, we are still at Nikolaku.
Okay, at least we have not thrown it away. Let me just start with something that's, of course, been in the news recently now, your talk about Wizkid at the Grammys, because I think it's very important that we clear up what you wanted to say.
I've ended the issue yesterday.
Okay.
I did a video, 52 minutes. Anybody that is interested can check it out. I mean, and there was, there's no issue there.
But so why did you feel the need to bring it up in the first place?
I didn't bring it up. The media brought it up. The bloggers, after Nigerian politicians, kidnappers and bandits, the third biggest problem in Nigeria is bloggers. They are, and not just generally the media, creating conflict where there's no conflict, just for their own personal benefit, and for me that's quite sinister, Even when we look at the disharmony and disunity in Nigeria today, these southern elites who control the media entirely in this country. The media in this country is owned entirely by southerners. Majority, at least 90%, being able to convince their young people that the problem with this country is not them and their own excesses, but the excesses of the northerners, and it's so sinister how they want to use this, and they bring that divisive narrative from the media right into every aspect of our lives, from our friendships to our relationships to our professional relationships, personal relationships, between colleagues, artists, between communities, ethnicities, whatever. They make sure, and you have to applaud them if that's how they want to eat in Africa. Good luck to them.
So just to clear it up, is Wizkid a Grammy winner?
Yeah, nothing changes that for his music video. I was talking about music. Okay. Like only 4 musicians have had their music nominated. And no amount of Buhari's children's wailing can change that. I also have a friend, who has won the Grammy 20 years ago, a Nigerian engineer.
Yeah.
So I might say, I don't know, a man. He's a Nigerian boy like all of us. Omo Ikuni. He engineered one of these big hip-hop albums and won a Grammy for engineering that. The Grammy is so wide. I was talking music and everybody just wanted to, maybe in their mind they wanted to shade Wizkid and wanted to use me. The Nigerian media, they are like that.
I see you're not the press of the media. You're not a fan of
I'm not of the Nigerian, because...
Why is that though? Because as much as I see where you're coming from, or where I might see where you're coming from, it's also very important. You also hold them, you find them important enough to grant interviews and use them.
We can't just allow only their negative narrative to stand. I hardly grant interviews also. Last week, this week, Rubbin Minds and you are my friend, kind of. And so I can't say no, but I say no to a lot of interviews. I have my own radio show. Whatever I want to say, I say it by myself. Yeah. I saw the media of Nigeria misrepresent my dad for 58 years, So I'm not disillusioned when I understand that the press simply means press you down,
Not really, but...
I know you defend your field, but I'm telling you, if Nigerian media... professionalism got to the extent where they understood that they also had a big interest in the stability of Nigeria, in the growth of Nigeria, and in the consciousness of young Nigerian people. A lot of things happening in the media will not happen today. Journalists can claim, the major online journalists can claim, oh, well, we are not the bloggers. But the truth is the bloggers learn from them.
Fair enough. You're also not a big fan of the Nigerian government, and I know you're very, very outspoken about how you feel about the way they run the country. We've seen you get involved with protests, speak up a lot. Twitter, of course, has become the latest victim of the Nigerian government. Speaking of press and freedom of speech and all of that, and that is almost out of the way now. I always want to ask, what should Nigerian young youth or Nigerians as a whole be doing differently to hold government accountable? Because people are starting to feel disillusioned, like these things or us speaking up and trying to protest don't work. You come from a lineage where you believe in protesting and speaking up, from your father to your brother to you. What should we be doing differently?
Well, in Nigeria, we as motherland people, we need to shed the spirit of the oppressor. It is not a very easy thing to do because it takes a lot of self-reflection. And with self-reflection, you know, some people end with self-doubt and they don't want to linger there because it takes a lot of energy to power through that doubt to get to clarity. You understand? Because we're all educated by our oppressors. They set themselves as example of the society. So we find ourselves, even though we are oppressed, mimicking the oppressor. You know, I mean, there's no way in Nigeria today that our money can be laundered without the assistance of our bankers. There's no way people's homes can be displaced without the help of civil servants. There's no way people can be abused on the street without the help of policemen and military men. There's no way our educational sector can be destroyed without the help and connivance of our lecturers and vice chancellors. You understand? And things like that. So majority of the oppression that we feel as a people is actually perpetrated by us on behalf of the oppressor because we so believe in his spirit and we think, oh, if we just keep our head down and we don't say anything, one day we also become an oppressor. You know, so everybody is kind of an oppressor in waiting, you know, just waiting for our chance while we are complaining when it touches us. So you find Nigerians are only willing, you know, to agitate against those things that doesn't
directly affect them.
So if the oppressors understand that the Nigerian professional class, they don't care about the destruction of public education as long as you can give them private education. You know, they don't care about the destruction of the public healthcare system as long as they have private healthcare system and they can travel out. You know, they don't care about the bad roads as long as they can give them some money to buy jeeps. They don't care about the no light as long as they can buy gen, you know, keep the diesel, you know, relatively affordable for their class, you know, while you price kerosene completely out of the reach of the poor and everybody keeps quiet. You know, you don't see Nigerian professionals who never go on strike one day because babies are dying in the hospital. You understand? Every week this year, we've had a tanker explosion. So let me just use this tanker explosion as an analogy to show you how the press and the professionals of Nigeria continue to fail the people. Bandits kidnap 5. Headsmen kill 5. It's terrorists. Headsmen are destroying us. Bandits are destroying us. Kidnapper kill. Every week. This year, one tanker has exploded in one place in Nigeria. Now to the extent that one tanker even exploded right in the middle of the city of Ikeja, here and in front of Sheraton. Killed 3 people, injured 25, destroyed all the businesses there. You never hear the media say, billionaire owner of tankers are killing Nigerians. You never hear them say, billionaire tanker owners are terrorists. You never hear that because if we're judging by how much they make and how they are unwilling to invest in proper transportation of their goods, putting Nigerian people's life at risk with untrained drivers working extra long hours, tired on the wheels, sleeping, working for less pay, in bad health, cannot really concentrate on their job. The machine itself is old and dilapidated, cannot really do the job that it's meant to do. It's forcing itself through the streets. The bad roads they don't invest in. You know, who shapes the narrative in that way? It's shaped as a singular crime that is almost like a mistake. You know, almost like a mistake. You know, nobody's at fault. Although it happens constantly, every week. And who is paying the price? The poor Nigerian hawkers that have to be on the highway looking for food. They are not even counted among the dead. You know, it is those that are lucky enough to die in their car that are counted. Not those ones that are in the middle of the street hawking because, you know, Nigeria doesn't keep records. So nobody knows who they are. You know, so that's the connivance here. You see how the professionals, the media, everybody misinformed. Nigerians are the victim and nobody does anything about it, except it is the one that benefits them. Oh, we can make noise about headsmen. Point the finger to somebody else. This is the problem. I don't really care about headsmen and farmer. The meat is too expensive. The food is too expensive. Do whatever you want to do to yourselves. You know, see if the farmer is giving me food at some reasonable price. Bag of rice is almost more expensive than our minimum wage in this country. And it is Nigerians like us that are growing this rice. Are you growing the rice to feed us or to get rich? What are we doing?
Are you absolving government of blame?
No. I'm not absolving government of. You say, what can Nigerian people do? I mean, like the Nigerians that do. I'm saying what we can do differently is to act differently from our oppressors. To not engage our own people the way the oppressors engage us. If we don't change that dynamic, if we keep acting like Buhari while complaining about Buhari, then what is going to change? Nothing's going to change. You know, like, you see bus drivers in Lagos. These are private businesses. Everybody believes so much in the private sector. We forget that even our transportation is private. Every downfall is a private business. Look at how they drive. Look at the way they don't repair the downfall. Look at the kind of accidents they have just because they want to collect as much money from Nigerians. They stuff everybody in the car, So we all take advantage of one another. And if we as Nigerians want to see a better Nigeria, we have to start changing from who our oppressors expect us to be or who they have programmed us to be. We must decolonize our mind. It is extremely important.
Fair enough. So we're talking about World Music Day, and you're talking about, what Nigerians can do differently and protesting and speaking up. And, people have always said music is a great tool, to speak up, speak truth to power.
Yeah.
And you are also a big fan of that. But there's also a belief that it's not effective enough. A lot of the songs, for example, that your father sang are still extremely relevant today. So it's almost as if, okay, yeah, we heard him say these things. He was very right in everything he said, but we're still battling this thing. So has it really changed anything? So is music that important to fight?
Everything is important to our liberation as motherland people. Music is an aspect of our culture, is an aspect of our means of communication, of interacting with one another. So music also has an influence over people's minds, So definitely music, education, sports, all these social sciences, and activities definitely have a big role to play in how we as human beings see one another, how we grow, how we interact, the relationships that we have and are able to nurture. These things are determined by music. That is why it is important that we also understand that the Nigerian youth are only given a certain kind of exposure to arts, which also limits their own development in artistic perception. You understand? Our radio is saturated with only one kind of music. We only make one kind of movies and things like that, So we also have to work harder to expand, to help our people expand their taste, expand their, horizon, if you could put it that way, through the arts. So definitely in that way, because music, sculptures, paintings, books, so many literature, poems, so many forms of art inspire people in so many amazing ways that can lead to better understanding and national unity. Definitely.
So it's something that you think should still go on. But away from that now, have you come around to this Afrobeats word being legit?
There's no legitimacy or illegitimacy to anything. You see, being able to name something is about power. One of the reasons why Nigeria is the way it is because we don't have the power yet to name, to claim the name. Nigeria was a name given to us by people that had power over us. Until now, we've not exercised our power to take over that name, So Nigeria is still working the way it was set up to work by the people that named it. See, because naming is power. So Nigeria was set up to exploit the labor of the people and the resources, And that is what is still happening today because that is the power, So to name Afrobeats or Afrobeats is something about, a power dynamic, We African people have the right to call our art whatever we want to call it. One of the examples I always give to people is that dancehall used to be called raga. And dancehall used to be called raga for one reason only. It was coming from Jamaica. And reggae was what was known from Jamaica. So raga was standing on the shoulders of reggae music, and today is dancehall. Nobody says raga anymore. I've not heard raga in 10 years.
Yeah.
Everybody says dancehall now because now they found their own space. They are building. It's building its own thing. It's its own thing now. So it's the same thing with Afrobeats and Afrobeat. Afrobeat is making a name for itself, standing on the shoulders of what has come before it, that is known where it is at. So Afrobeats it is.
Is Afrobeats one sound though?
Afrobeats and Afrobeat are not one sound.
Yeah,
just
it's Afrobeats. Where we hear Afrobeats, people just equate it with Nigerian music.
Yeah, but it's not just Nigerian music. It's African
Yeah.
pop music. I mean, it's only not...
Or African music.
Yeah, it's not just Nigerians playing it. Ghanaians are playing it.
Which is why it's so weird, because it's like,
Yeah,
how
but-
is all of this one sound?
Yeah, but Nigerians are the biggest proponents. That's why, you know, we were like the major people putting it on the map. And let's not let our heads swell as Nigerian artists thinking we are doing something special. It's special, but we were only able to accomplish it because the Nigerian elites are the only elites I know in the world that spend more on entertainment than they do on education. I'm not joking.
How do you mean?
Check it. There in the statistics. Lagos alone is 5 billion naira every week for parties. Budget. Every week, Lagos alone, not the whole Nigeria, just Lagos. It's 5 billion a week spent on wedding parties, you know. And with this comes a event planner, tailor, musician, MC.
It's a booming sector. It's a
It's an amazing. But Unilag is still looking for 2 billion naira endowment for how many years? I don't know if they found it. They've been able to raise it up till now. You know, so please, you people, try and help Unilag if you've not done so already. I'm sure you've not, because I still saw the advert some months ago in the papers. Please help Unilag, you know, before your next wedding party. No, but I mean,
I get what you're saying.
it's the truth. When you know that Harvard alone has a $65 billion endowment fund, doesn't even have to look at the government to run its
For anything.
grant or anything. You know, the elites themselves understanding that perpetuating their own image and their own ideology in their society is what secures their own future as the elite of the country. Make sure that they sponsor all the grants, everything, so they can shape the narrative, you know. But our elites here allow the narrative of their own nation to be shaped by outsiders, you know, and it's a huge flaw, you know, while they are enjoying their parties.
It's not just the elite. I guess it's every Nigerian. We just like to relax. But let's quickly go into
It's not every Nigerian.
What's
Some
coming,
Nigerians can't afford
what's
to
coming for
relax.
Shehu Kuti? What's up for you for the rest of the year? What are you working on?
Well, I'm happy COVID restrictions are finally like ending. You know, I'm about to do my new record. And after my new record, you know, whatever comes next, comes next. The next plan is the new record, though.
Okay.
You know, because we've been... And then also, politically, we're working on an MOP, a Movement of the People.
Is that a political party?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have out of the 24 reps we need in the States, I think we raised 14. We have 1,500 volunteers now. It's growing faster than I thought. So I'm really happy.
So are you going to run for office?
No, I'm the chairman of the party, you know. Chairman Shehu, you know, recognize. But right now I'm pro tem chairman. My plan is as soon as we have our convention, I can win the election, the primaries, and be confirmed.
Will you run for office?
No.
at some
The
point? Not
problem
ever.
with Nigeria is that everybody wants to be in office. We don't understand that.
And you're not interested in that?
Yes, the real politics is party politics. Because the party is where the policies come from, where the ideology is developed and nurtured and protected. You know, one of the problems with Nigeria is that there's no national orientation. You know, we as Nigerians, let me put it this way. You ask a young man at the age of 17 in high school, what are your dreams of the future? You know, and he's a Nigerian. You say, I want to marry, get money, build house, have kids, take care of my parents. Ask him at 45, it's the same thing he's going to tell you. And none of these plans will be, the development of Nigeria, the emancipation of Africa from imperialist clause. None of this, you know, you understand, but this is a failure of the political and business elites of Nigeria, you know. So these are the things that we must change to understand that for our nation to actually develop, for our nation to grow, it has to be our dream.
Yeah.
It has to be our dream. Without it being our dream as the people of this country, it can't happen. Somebody else cannot dream it up for you. So that's why when people ask me, oh, Shehu, what are we doing? I'm like, no, what are you doing? Because if you're not doing anything, then nobody's doing anything.
That's a perfect way to wrap it up. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thanks.
Good luck with the politics.
Yeah.
I think that's quite exciting. Looking forward to what comes out of it. They say you never really go into politics and come out clean enough.
Yeah, well.
So hopefully they don't stain your whites.
Listen.
Literally.
We need
to go. We need to go.
Nigerian alone is enough for that.
We're going to take a break now. I'll be right back. Please
Thank
stay
you.
with us.
And just give me some reaction. Just wanna go. I like the way you move. Really wanna get with you.
All right, welcome back. Now we're switching our conversation to health and body enhancements and weight loss and all those things around that. I'm joined here by an advanced clinical weight loss expert, Elizabeth Onyama. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Your title is very, very heavy.
Yes,
This is a very interesting topic because I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about, a couple of friends of hers who she had seen, who had gone through childbirth and all of that, and how different they looked now.
Yes.
And she was wondering why, people don't seem to talk about it a lot more. And she also said she probably understands now why body enhancement has become a little more popular, because it's really hard how much your body changes after childbirth,
Yes.
Why is there still so much of a stigma around, enhancements or cosmetic surgery or cosmetic enhancements as a whole?
The truth about it is that personally, I see nothing wrong with body enhancement. It's a broad topic. It just depends on the angle in which you're going to take it from. Talking about weight loss itself is body enhancement. You're changing yourself. You're deciding. Even for the men who decide to go about body lifting, and then, I've seen some really skinny guys. I want to see really skinny guys, and then they get really, really serious in the gym, watch their diet, and they're all buffed up after a while. It's still body enhancement. And then we now have others who will decide to go about it the artificial way by wearing boob pads, butt pads, the cinchers, and then those who now decide to take it a step forward with the semi-permanent procedures such as the liposuction and the rest of it. So it just depends on the angle in which you take it from. I see nothing wrong with it. Everybody has reasons why they want to work on themselves. Maybe it is for self-confidence. Maybe it's to look more sexy or more, There are just different reasons why. It could be because you just want to be comfortable in your own skin. I don't see anything wrong with that. My line of work right now as a clinical weight loss consultant, to a large extent, can still be connected to the beauty field, So I wouldn't say body enhancement is wrong. There are people as well who maybe were involved in a particular accident, and then had an issue with their nose and have to do a rhinoplasty. There is nothing wrong with it. So body enhancement isn't bad, even if there are things that people need to know before they take that huge step. And I'm talking about, the semi-permanent one. Now, talking about mothers, I'm a mother myself, and I can relate totally with what you've just said right now, talking about the conversation you have with your friend. Because at my heaviest, I was over 110. My belly was so big and massive, and I didn't like the way I looked, coming from someone who used to have this beautiful, fabulous shape, when did having children become such a bad thing? It's expected that you get married and then the kids should come. But then when the kids come, and the way we have our kids here in Nigeria, by the time you have the first one, mom is telling you, your mother-in-law is telling you, sharp, have the second one. So you're not even done getting rid of the first pregnancy, the fat you gathered in the first pregnancy. And then you're getting in with the second and then the third, and God knows how many. And usually, you're supposed to add at least 15 kgs healthy weight during pregnancy. So no matter what, no matter how hot and sexy you looked, you will add weight. So now the issue is, after you had your child, do not waste time. Begin to work on yourself immediately. Some people would say, okay, depending, if maybe they had a CS operation, they could wait after 3 months before they now begin, rigorous exercise, diet. Those of them who give birth to vaginal birth can almost start like 6 weeks after childbirth. So there is really nothing wrong about it. It's just that people are not ready to put in the work to get their bodies back to the way it was before they had children.
You said put in the work there, and I know I've also been in this conversation with a lot of people, even some men, who will tell you, I've been working out for 3-4 years. I've tried virtually every diet or diet fad there is out there, and I hardly see any results. Or some people even tell you after working out, they probably are even adding more weight because it's just not working for them. Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible.
To work out and diet and not lose weight?
Yes, very possible.
So people like that, what happens to them if they also say, I don't want to go the semi-artificial way?
So now the thing
or the semi-permanent way, I beg your pardon.
Now the thing about it is that what you just said is right. You could be working out rigorously. You could be dieting, depending on the kind of diet you're doing, which is why I like the word you said when you said a fat diet. And fat diets are usually known not to give you lasting results. That's why they're called fat diets. You do them in 10 days, you lose 10 kgs, and the moment you go back to your regular lifestyle, everything comes back. And that is what we have out there, you know. Not only do we have fad diets, we also have a whole lot of unsustainable diets out there. I mean, tell me, I'm trying to lose weight, and you're telling me that I should drink carrot juice and cucumber juice and eat one fish and then take a carrot. It's not sustainable, because in the long run, the fact that I am hungry, which is a natural instinct that comes to the human person, will come. And when it happens, I will descend on anything I see, whether it is good for me or it is bad for me. At that point in time, it is me just trying to survive by eating anything I see. So that is what happens to most people. But the truth about it is that you can actually, if a client, for instance, like my clients are really lucky because I don't starve them. They eat meals that are regular. A regular Nigerian can, you know, relate with these meals. And I'm just talking about Nigerians, even people that are from different parts of the world. So if a person is lucky enough to find... Now, another problem is most people look out for make me lose weight. That should not be the focus. You should look for a lifestyle. So there is nothing wrong if you do find or meet a weight loss consultant and then you quiz and ask her, what are your meals like? Will this be there? Will that be there? Will I starve? Find out all these things before you end up committing yourself to the program so that you don't feel like you've paid for it, you have to go through it, and after losing the weight, you gain it all back. No. Go for a lifestyle. So that's the mistake most people make. Okay, before we go now very quickly, because we're almost out of time. I know we are supposed to be paying you for your consulting or whatever it is. But in a nutshell, what does a healthy lifestyle look like for an average person watching now? Okay, so now the healthy lifestyle is simply, first of all, we are going to tackle it from two angles. What you eat and how you move your body. Now, starting from what you eat, focus on eating natural foods. Try your best to stay away from processed foods. When I mean processed foods, foods that have gone through some kind of modification. I'm talking about body modification. When you hear things like chemicalized substances added to food and all these things are also things that trigger weight gain, but people don't know that, you know. So focus on a natural diet that you have around you. Instead of going for peanut butter, go for regular granules. Instead of doing salads with salad cream, why don't you use a little bit of avocado? You get what I'm trying to say? Instead of frying your fish, now for those of us who are adults, don't do fries. Go for grilled stuff, the grilled fish, grilled chicken, you know. They are good for you. And then when it comes to carbs, which are the bad guys when it comes to weight gain and all that. Which we Nigerians love. Yeah, because I love carbs. Like telling me to do a diet without carbs, you're killing me. So you go for the ones that I would always say are unrefined. Unrefined in the sense that nothing has been removed away from the carb. Just the carb the way it is, yam as it is, sweet potato as it is, plantain as it is, you know. And avoid the derivatives such as gari, where stuff has been removed from it. Chaff. You want to kill us. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it is just the truth, the importance of fiber. And then when it comes to movement, people just tend to have this belief that for you to exercise, you have to be caught up in a gym. Wrong. Or that you have to wear your... Simply walking around is good enough. Do you understand? What you just need to do is burn more calories. And burning more calories just requires you to stand up more often and move just a little, as frequently as possible. So it becomes relatable. It doesn't feel like a daunting task where I have to wake up in the morning. No, calm down, relax, you know. So let me just say a quick tip. Normally I'll tell my clients when you're on calls, don't sit, pace while you're on calls. That way... Ready to go. Yeah. Sorry. Very sorry to cut you off there. But thank you very much. And looking forward to... I hope people reach out to you. Yes. And get more tips from you. Thanks a lot for being here today. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Like I always say, you can follow the conversation on our social media platforms. I'll see you next Sunday. Do have a good week.